Hi, this is Katrina from Katrina K Creations, and this is the final lesson, lesson 3 of the Pattern Making Plain and Simple series. Today, I'm going to show you how to add seams, or what we also call style lines, in your pattern making. Let's get started. For the tools that you'll need, you can look at the video from lesson 1. And also, if you haven't viewed lesson 1 and 2 of the Pattern Making Plain and Simple series, I advise you to do that first, then come back to this video. We're using the same practice template, or mini sloper, as I also call it, that we used in our first 2 lessons. And also for this lesson, which is lesson 3, there's also a worksheet with 3 exercises that you can download and practice on your own. Now in lesson 1, we moved the darts into different places on our sloper. And in lesson 2, we combined darts, or moved one dart into an existing dart and changed them to tucks, pleats, and gathers. In this lesson, we'll be using a little of what we learned in lesson 1 and 2, but we'll also be adding seams to our pattern. This will give you even more of an example of how designs are created in pattern making. And just a side note, today we'll only be using the slash and spread method. We will not be doing the pivot method. So let's compare the style we're trying to create with our original sloper. And as you can see, we have no shoulder darts and no waist darts. Instead, we have a bottom yoke and gathers along the yoke seam on each side. In order to create this style, first we have to close our waist dart like this. Then with our waist dart still closed, we want to draw our yoke line or our seam line placement. You also want to mark your notches so they're on the yoke piece and the top piece of your pattern. That way, when you add your seam allowances, you'll know exactly where your notches go on both pieces. When you mark your notches, you don't want them to be too far away from where your dart used to be, because this is the area that we're going to be gathering our top piece. So about 1 inch or so away from where our dart opening was should be a good distance, because we're not going to be adding a whole lot of fullness for the gathers. Then you want to tape your waist dart closed below your yoke line or your seam line only. Once you've taped below your seam line, then you want to cut right on your seam line. So now your piece looks like this. We're going to move our bottom yoke piece to the side for a minute, and now let's focus on the top part of our pattern. Now remember, we don't have a shoulder dart either. So you want to close your shoulder dart like this. And notice that this creates a small dart at the bottom of your piece. This is where your gathers are going to go, in between those notches. So we want to fill in that small dart with paper and reshape our line to allow for our gathers. Using our French curve, we're going to redraw our line. Now your top piece will be gathered between these notches, and you're going to match those notches to your bottom piece when it's sewn together. But of course, before you do that, you want to add your seam allowances to your pieces. So now we've added a yoke to the bottom of our piece and gathers to our top piece. Well, this concludes lesson 3 in my pattern making series. I hope it's been a great learning experience for you. To help you practice your pattern making, I've given you a worksheet with 3 more exercises. The practice template or mini sloper is the same one we used in lesson 1 and 2, but it's also included in lesson 3's worksheet. To get your worksheet for all 3 pattern making lessons, go to bit.ly/pattern series, which is also in the description. Thank you for watching.